Connection that I have with you guys, and I'm really excited about this year because I think we have particularly a lot to talk about, both in terms of investments in our football program since the end of last season, improvements to our game day experience over the summer as well, and then finally, just at least from my perspective, the great excitement that's around both this team and the program overall. You know, we ask our players and our fans to make a big commitment to us. The players is obvious. You know, they're working almost year-round. They're pushing themselves out of their comfort zone. But our fans make a big commitment too, beyond just coming down 37-69 and dealing with the latest challenge there, which I think are more modest than they've been in years past. But they invest in us, and my commitment to both the players and the fans is that we're going to commit to them as well. We're going to develop our players athletically, academically, and personally better than any place else in the country. We're going to provide them first-class coaches and first-class facilities. We're going to improve the game day experience, which in my view not only helps our fans, importantly, but also helps the team because it's a whipsaw effect. The more people there, the more attractive we are as a venue. The more attractive we are as a venue, the more fans that come because more players are coming, and so forth. So I'm going to, you've got the detailed press release, but I do want to hit some highlights in those three buckets. Number one, investments in our football program. Number two, improvements to the game day experience. And number three, the excitement that I have around this team and this program and this head coach. So let me go through that just a little bit, starting really here with the Terry Tallon Indiana Football Complex. All told, this is going to be about an $8.5 million facility made possible by a $2 million gift from former football player Terry Tallon. I'm excited for you guys to walk in and see the locker room. There's a lot of components to this, and again, it's a football-only in-stadium complex, which includes a dramatic and extensive expansion and renovation of the Trent and Julie Green locker room, a new spacious team and recruiting lounge over here that includes a nutrition center, big screen TVs, video playstations, oversized leather chairs, ping pong tables. I saw some bags, cornhole games, a pool table, an equipment room, coach's locker room, hydrotherapy center, and a renovated, expanded Dr. John M. Miller training room, as well as branding, pictures, and graphics all throughout the complex. And the kids moved into this on August 13th. You may have seen some of the video from that. The kids are really super excited about it, and that's exciting to us. This is, I won't say the final piece, but most recent piece to a major expansion of our facilities. We had a few years ago the $49 million North End Zone project, followed fairly recently by the $48 million South End Zone project, which created a beautiful new front door facing campus, as well as closing in the bowl. So I really feel like we've continued to make major investments here. In some ways, I think the Terry Tallon Indiana Football Complex is the cherry on what was already a pretty good hot fudge sundae. In terms of personnel, we've talked about this before, but we brought in Kalen DeBoer. You're aware of his pedigree. It's outlined a bit in the press release. He's been a winner wherever he's been. He was a winner as a head coach, 3 national championships, turnaround artist as an offensive coordinator, not 1 but 2 programs. We did open up the pocketbook to bring DeBoer here. He is paid about $800,000 annually. That puts him about third of the Big Ten. And I've always said, and I think this is evidence that we're prepared to put our money where our mouth is to bring the people in we need to bring to be successful. I'm really excited that Kalen's here. He's been awesome. I've enjoyed getting to know him. Secondly, we promoted Kane Womack. I think the headline there is, as you guys have written, that really frees up Tom to be the CEO of the entire program. But I think it's more than that. I think this really started when Tom Allen himself recruited Kane here. He was already, as a very young person, a defensive coordinator at South Alabama, and through his personal relationship with the Womacks, Tom's personal relationship with Womacks, he convinced him to come here to be a linebacker position coach. And certainly I think Tom had his eye on him to do bigger and better things, perhaps at that point, not to ultimately become the defensive coordinator in just a couple of years. But I credit Tom with bringing, tracking Kane here And not insignificantly, we doubled Kane's salary when he became the defensive coordinator. So again, ongoing investments by IU Athletics to do what it needs to do to get the people that we need in senior leadership positions with the football program. Similarly, we were able to retain Dave Ballou and Dr. Matt Ray. A lot of people talk about there's not really two coordinators in the program, there's three. There's your offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and strength and conditioning coach. In some ways, Iowa, I think, led the way in really highlighting that role. And we recognize that first in attracting Dave Ballou, an alumnus and fullback here at Indiana under Coach Mallory, and then Dr. Matt Ray, the speed doctor, who really brings an academic and intellectual approach to improving strength, improving speed. We weren't the only guys that figured out that they were doing great things. Multiple NFL teams were after them, and we doubled their salary from about $350,000 to almost $800,000. So a significant doubling to keep them here, which makes them among the two highest paid strength and conditioning coaches in the Big Ten. Again, we're doing what we need to do to attract and retain people that we think are going to get us where we want to be. We're really excited that Dr. Matt Ray and Dave Ballou will be staying here with us. I note as well that as part of our investments in the strength and conditioning staff, for the first time ever, we have a standalone football-only strength and conditioning coach suite, which I think will help with the interactions that they need to make to take the program where we want it to be. So that's really the focus on the investments we've made in the program, very significant both facilities-wise and personnel-wise. And those are the two main things to success. I believe that we can lay claim to having one of the best game day environments in the Big Ten. Very family-friendly. We've got very affordable ticket prices, probably the most affordable in the conference. We have young alumni discounts to encourage young families to come. We have special youth seating. If you buy a youth ticket, kid can sit right with you wherever you sit, not off in Pango somewhere. We've got the Novel Park tradition that's extremely family friendly. I think encourages kids to come and then encourages their parents to come. But we want to build on that. I don't think you can rest on your laurels. And in some ways, the most notable improvement to our game day experience and the overall game day experience, I think, is the beer and wine sales that will be happening in Memorial Stadium. We did a release detailing those earlier this week. I'll be happy to answer any questions about that. But since we went through that in a lot of detail, I won't repeat those here. Other than to say, our focus has been improving the game day experience and reducing alcohol-related incidents, which has been the experience of all the other schools that have implemented that. We expect that to be the case here as well. We might make some modest revenue, but that's not, it really won't move the dial. That's not really been the driver for us. Not coincidentally, we were renovating all of our restrooms. They may get used more, I don't know. It's my speculation. Some of you guys are in there. They were fairly nasty, and they were leaky, and we've waterproofed those. There's new roofs on all the restrooms. The way Memorial Stadium is constructed, they're really their own little entities. We've repainted them all. We've put new lighting in there. So I think as they're utilized more, they'll be a better place to be. We've improved our wayfinding and welcome signage. That sounds pedestrian. I don't know if that's a pun or not, but not meant to be. But it's a big deal. We want to be a welcoming place. I think sometimes Indiana University can be a pretty good place to get around if you already know how to get around. And we've tried to make it more of a welcoming place that people don't know how to get around. So instead of the gate 4 signs being this big, they're almost that big. This is another addition to that. We're increasing the number of "You Are Here's," we're increasing the number of overall signage, and we're doubling the wayfinding signage in Memorial Stadium, and just trying to make it a welcoming place to be. One of those things, I got a little show and tell. This will be very exciting. I brought our new Welcome to Memorial Stadium sign. I think it's attached to your handouts as well. And it struck me that our old welcoming sign wasn't very welcoming. It said, "Welcome to Memorial Stadium. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that." So our lips said welcome, but our actions said, this is a no fun place. So we wanted to have a welcoming sign worthy of the name, welcoming, and have a little fun with it, maybe a little gleam in our eye. You know, have fun, come loving your Hoosiers, leave loving your Hoosiers, be loud, be proud. We all came to cheer, stay classy, Hoosier Nation. Have a drink if you'd like. We acknowledge that this is a new era with beer and wine sales, but be responsible, and don't ruin it for yourself or others. You certainly don't want to bother your neighbor, but don't ruin your day by doing something stupid. And then instead of having a bazillion rules, we said, pretty much just follow the rules you learned in kindergarten and we'll be all good. Okay, just use sense. And we're not going to delineate, please don't eat the daisies. And then we say, but if some knucklehead, we literally say, if some knucklehead is interfering with your reasonable enjoyment of the game, let us know. And it'll be hard to swing a cat without hitting the text number in Memorial Stadium for, I've got something goofy happening, please come and help us. So these will be all throughout the stadium, and hopefully in some ways a metaphor for us continuing to try to improve a welcoming experience at Memorial Stadium. We're going with our tiered ticket pricing. I think this is an example of us listening to our fans and said, why games that maybe aren't as popular as others, or seating that's not as popular as others, is all the pricing flat? And instead of just knee-jerk defending that, we say, well, you're probably right. And our ticket office did a fantastic job of setting up a system, game day only tickets. I want to emphasize that the season ticket is still the best bargain at Indiana University for football, but I think the single game tiered ticket pricing will help attendance and really fan satisfaction. Again, kind of old news by putting this bucket of an improved game day experience, put the names back on the back of the jerseys. I thought it was a great idea to take them off, the IU tradition. Football was the only team that had them there, but the reality is football is just different. It's a gigantic venue. The fans are way away from the players. There's a bazillion players, or at least 113. A lot of them have duplicate numbers. It's just different. And so we're going to treat it differently and put the names back on the jerseys. Another example, I think, of us listening and not having a knee-jerk reaction to defend the status quo, is saying, I think they're right. We need to do something different there. Many of you may have experienced the renovation of the Orange Lot. What we call the Orange Lot is the lot between Simon Scott Assembly Hall and Memorial Stadium. The university funded that. It's almost $2 million project that they did following on their renovation of the Purple Lot a few years ago, which was about a $4 million project. So that's a nice infusion of about $6 million worth of infrastructure for us from the university. And I think it's going to be great. We made better use of green spaces on the periphery. We increased green space little islands in the middle, like in the Purple Lot. I think it'll be better tailgating for our fans. Hopefully it'll help prevent somebody from getting run over. It was like the last helicopter out of Saigon over there, with people going all different kinds of places. We literally had a cheerleader hit by a swimmer and a jeep turnover, and so the traffic organization of that will be a big plus. The final thing I want to mention on improving the game day experience is what we like to call painting the town red. We want an enhanced engagement between IU football and Bloomington. So when you come into Bloomington, you know it's a football weekend. And we're doing that with a variety of ways. We're partnering with local merchants, Graduate Hotels, you may have seen, has a gigantic schedule on the side of its building. We've got 2,500 yard signs out in the community. We're doing game week spirit stations that are going to have merchandise, cheerleaders, pep band. It's going to be all around. So hopefully when people come into Bloomington on a game day weekend, they'll know it's a game day weekend. I think it'll just enhance the overall excitement. So that's really the focus I wanted to take about game day experience. The final part is my excitement for the team and the program. And there's really a couple things that are driving that for me that ultimately fall under the umbrella of, I think, Tom Allen's terrific leadership. First of all, is the high quality of our players. I think our players are just better. This recruiting class, the freshman this year, was the best recruiting class in the history of Indiana University football. It displaced the year before's class as the best class in the history of Indiana football. So I didn't go to Purdue, but I think I can follow the logic of the fact that the two best recruiting classes in the history of Indiana University football were both under Tom Allen in his only two classes. And that's a powerful impact on a team where 80 of our 113 players are either freshmen or sophomores. They're either true freshmen or redshirt freshmen, or they're sophomores. So those classes have a disproportionate impact on our team and are a really big deal. As I talked before, this class has 4 of the 6 top-rated players from Indiana, kind of Tom's answer to Archie's inside-out strategy. 2 of our individual players in this class are the highest ranked ever in the history of Indiana University football. So it's a pretty spectacular improvement in our I think in the quality of our players. I'll mention one other thing. The rankings are fine and numbers are fine and 4 stars and 3 stars and 5 stars and all that stuff are really fine. But what really speaks to me is what's going on in the marketplace. How many Power 5 offers do these kids have? Because other Power 5 teams are only offering kids that they think are Power 5 players. So I think a very telling statistic in that regard is in this year's true freshman class of 23 kids, 21 of them had at least one other Power 5 offer. So we're, we did some really strong Power 5 teams. In 2010, as a frame of reference, out of that class's 23 true freshmen, three had another Power 5 offer. So I think it shows who Tom's competing and succeeding against. I think it speaks to the quality of our players. It passes the eye test when you're just out there, even a guy like me, and see we look bigger, stronger, longer, more athletic, faster. But I think beyond the statistics of the recruiting services, just the quality of the kids, the quality of the teams and programs we're beating out speaks volumes. So number 1, I think our players are better. Number 2, I've never seen a team at Indiana since I've been here with the cohesion, the spirit, and the confidence of this group. And maybe part of that is we've got 80 new kids who've come in under Tom. He's their guy, and they're recruiting to him. But I feel it, you know. And we'll see what happens over the course of the season, but I see it, the way they sit on the edge of their chair, the way they listen, the way they focus. There's not guys going off and mumbling under their breath. This is a strong group that's here to change what has been the trajectory of Indiana football. I'm really excited about that. I don't think Jeremy Price is here, but I wanted to credit him. He wrote a column a few weeks ago highlighting this thing called InsideTheTeam.com. If you guys haven't looked at it, I encourage you to do that. It's a independent website that collects anonymous ratings of the various coaches throughout college football and takes anonymous comments from players about those coaches. And Tom is the highest rated coach in the Big Ten. It's a 5-star system. He's got a 5-star overall. He's got a 5-star in every subcategory. The comments are those of which make it warm the cockles of the heart of an athletic director about his leadership, about the way he cares. And again, I can say whatever I want. I suppose these guys can say whatever they want. But it's an independent, anonymous piece. We've included some of the comments in your materials. But I think it speaks to the culture that Tom is creating, and that just matters. You know, the way that kids feel about their coach just matters. So we're better. I think Tom's philosophy and his recruiting success and his ability as a coach is driving this increased cohesion, spirit, and confidence. And so I'm really super excited about going into this season. It's the Big Ten East. It's a tough schedule. We didn't get any favors with our crossover games this year. But I saw one of our guys say they go in expecting to win every game, and we'll see what happens. So with that, I'll take any questions, and I really appreciate you guys being here and your patience as we start the league.
I guess about White House specifically, like in terms of fan behavior, are there things that are going to change, specifically stuff like pass outs? Is that allowed, is it not allowed? Are there things that you're encouraging fans to kind of change as you introduce that into the game day experience?
Well, as you know from our release yesterday, we've got a number of parameters that hopefully will help our fans be responsible. You know, 1 to 2 beers per purchase. We'll close it down at the end of the third quarter. You're going to have your ID there every time, and so forth. We're going to leave the pass outs where it is. This is an experimental year. I think the fewer things you change, the better you can hone in on what the specific change you made is driving. So let's see what this does. And I think the pass outs is an open issue going forward. I've been a little hesitant on pass outs because I want the fans to stay, because they want to stay, not because they have to stay. But there may be some security or other reasons why we need to revisit that.
Fred, your predecessors have had a reluctance through the years and decades about spending money near the top of Big Ten for things like coordinators and such, and obviously you guys have chosen to do that this year. Do you have any sort of feel good about that personally, and being able to sort of make that commitment to this program and those coordinators to get this get up near the top of the Big Ten of that?
Well, I think in fairness to my predecessors, I think they were really doing all they could. They were focusing on priorities that they had, and so I don't want to be critical of them. The other thing is, I was the 5th athletic director in 8 years. You know, it's hard to have a long-range plan where you're getting churned around in a number, it's measured by months or weeks, not years. I think longevity has some benefits, including being able to identify and implement some longer-term plans. So I think the time and grade has been helpful. To me, the Big Ten network money has been a little bit of a wind at our back. But I will say that we've been raising money in unprecedented amounts. You know, when I got here, we had an $80 million campaign. We were stuck on 70 and really could go to the hump until Mr. Cook agreed to give us $10 million. This campaign, our goal is $215 million, and we're going to blow through that. So I think maybe my background of being shameless of how many people I ask for ridiculous amounts of money has helped. And then I think we've been aggressive on our third-party agreements and so forth to raise the money that we need. Ultimately, I think it was really prioritizing football. And my belief when I came in, I told the search committee when I was interviewing, this has got to be about football, because we'll do the right things in basketball. And it ebbs and flows, but in terms of monetizing basketball, I think we're doing a very, very good job. Football is where the inventory is. It's where we were falling way behind. And you don't just get there without making investments and then being consistent about your leadership. So I think part of it is just being very mindful that we're going to be very serious about football. And I think we've done things over the years that if we had done it all at once, like some of our colleagues in the Big Ten did, it been a bigger splash. I think in a lot of ways we were ahead of the curve with the north end zone, south end zone, redoing the practice field, and ultimately maybe not ahead of the curve, but the final piece here with Gary County.
Obviously, you talked about the BTN revenues. I don't know in terms of ticket sales whether the number will be Michigan or Ohio State, but I mean, how much room to grow is there in terms of ticket sales? How much will the boost the department actually where you get full revenue there?
Right. Great question. So it'd be a huge boost, and part of my feeling is we focus on football for about 3 reasons. Number one, football is important for football. Football reflects disproportionately on the quality of your university. I'm not saying that's fair, but I think it's realistic. And Indiana University is an excellent brand. Our football program has an excellent. So I think for football's sake, we need it also drives revenue for the department. Most Big Ten schools, most of their money comes from football, basketball less. We're the inversion of it. We make most of our money off of basketball, football much less. We're at the bottom of the Big Ten in terms of how much money we make on football. But the good news about that is it's a huge opportunity. Because with those empty seats, if we just sold out our comparatively small stadium, it would add about $10 million or more to our bottom line. Because our fixed costs are the same. So when we go from 42 to 52, that's a lot of money on a 7-game schedule. And $10 million on a $110 million budget moves the dial. So just from and that money can be used not only to reinvest in football, but to help with other aspects of the program. So it's important for football, it's important for the department, and then I suggest it's important for the university, because I think it's a binder. And especially in this world where everybody's got their own cable station, everybody's got their own XM station, everybody, there's not that many common things anymore. And I think football in Indiana is one of them. And it binds people. I think people are more likely to make an introductory gift to the foundation, be on their school's advisory committee, it's a binder, so I think it's important at the university level too. So for all those reasons, we've pretty unabashedly been focused on making those investments in football, not letting our other sports lag behind, certainly not letting basketball lag behind, but to the point of the previous question, probably focusing more mindfully and directly to football than ever has before. Zach?
Sorry, we ask about this every year. I think you expected it to be.
No, IU Kentucky was last time.
I think you said you expected it to be more modest, but Martinsville is still kind of a little bit of a choke point. Just what should people expect traffic-wise coming down this year?
Well, I think my main message would be prepared to be nimble, because I think it's going to change as they work on the bridge here or interchange there. We sat around the table yesterday or the day before, and I think this was a step forward because we had all the players. We had the university's director of public safety, we had the state police, we had IUPD, we had Department of Transportation, and we're just like, let us know. Don't sugarcoat it, what can we do? And there was a lot of great interaction at the table. Well, maybe we could delay this, maybe we could do that. But we're going to encourage our fans to be nimble. We're probably going to utilize technology, particularly Waze, to help give the latest and greatest on how to get down here. I think it will be a lot better than it has been in the past. And we've made very clear to the state, that Ohio State at noon is going to be a challenging game if some arteries are blocked off. So, again, I think it'll be better, but I think it'll be a little moving around. I just encourage our fans to pay attention.
I know it's a walk before you run process, but is there any thoughts to the future adding suites to the football stadium?
Yeah, I think that's probably the next big project. In some ways, we were ahead of the curve on converting the press box to suites, and I would see, downstream that an expansion of that could be the case. The issue is going to be whether the central southern Indiana corporate community really can support that. Sometimes I look enviously at my colleagues who are in, Minneapolis or Columbus or even Nebraska, where it's the only game in town, and we've got a fairly small state with 3 major Power 5 football conferences, plus feeding the Colts, and I think we just have to be realistic about what the market would be for that. But I think that would be a natural, longer-term project.
As far as facilities, I know that you have done anything in your mind that kind of needs to be on the front burner as far as improvements or replacements or just anything that needs to be kind of upgraded going forward?
Yeah, I think it's really important that you never just check the box and say, okay, the facilities are done. We've come a long, long way, and I do believe the major pieces that we've always wanted to do, we've gotten done. When I came back in 2009, after leaving as a student in 1981, the whole athletics campus, but especially Memorial Stadium, didn't look a lot different in the intervening, however many decades. We still had chain link fence with barbed wire on the top, which was like fingernails on the blackboard to me. Like, are we trying to keep people in here? Is this not like 13 or what's the deal? And we have a beautiful limestone wrought iron fence in the north end zone and south end zone, artificial turf for the practice field. This beautiful facility, I'm eager for you guys to see the locker room and the players' lounge and all that. So I think we're in a really good place, but I think we'll continue to look for things to invest. Frankly, I think the most significant investment on the horizon is Tom Allen's new contract. I'm confident he's going to be successful. I'm confident that we're going to retain him, and I'm confident it's going to cost a little bit of money. So I've got a little bit of my cookie jar for that.
I guess when you look at not only the renovations here at Memorial, but also in Armstrong and development of Wilkinson Hall, how quickly does the correlation have to be for you in terms of getting these new facilities, but also getting results in terms of
question. I certainly do think facilities helps with that. At some point, potential players are going to pay a premium to play in substandard facilities. Either they love the college town, they love the campus, maybe they love the coach, but it's like, I don't want to play in high school gym. I don't want to play on the middle school baseball field. I don't play on the middle school softball field. I don't want to play on a MAC-like 6A Penn Carmel football stadium. I think we've taken those objections all away, and in some cases we're leading the pack on those facilities. I think the success on the field or on the court or on the pitch tends to trail that a little bit, and it's not a magic wand. And I don't say, my God, Steve Aaron, you better make the NCAA this time because you got that beautiful new Wilkerson ball. Because it's hard to make the NCAA when you're in the Big Ten volleyball. So we'll take that as it goes, but I do think certainly the coaches and the players have higher expectations, and I probably do as well.
And that's a big thing for what we need is one of the topics that Coach was talking about was the possible realignment and divisions and all that. Just kind of curious where we come down your 2 cents on it, and do you think that's something that down the road could be a possibility for Big Ten?
Well, that's above my pay grade. The ADs, I have some say that gets played out at a higher level. Look, we are where we are. And if you draw a line down the geographic center of the Big Ten, we're a little bit east, Purdue's a little bit west, and so we're where we're supposed to be. Tom recruits to that. He goes and tells kids, hey, if you want to be in the Horseshoe every other year, the Big House every other year, the Beaver Stadium every other year, and play big boy, premium time kickoff football, and win, come to Indiana. And so we recruit to that. I think that's great. I don't see them jumbling that in pursuit of some sort of competitive balance. We tried that with Leaders and Legends, and it's kind of a flop. People want to know sort of intuitively what division people are in. I think it's possible. Maybe they do away with divisions totally and just have a league schedule, and then the top 2, I would guess, could play the championship. You wouldn't necessarily have to lose the championship game. I think that's something I'd certainly favor looking at, but I don't see it to change on the horizon.
I guess just follow up on that more broadly, the change coming at the top of the Big Ten. Are there areas that you hope the new commissioner will kind of take things, I know it's early, I know obviously that it's a process, but are there things that kind of you hope kind of he'll take Big Ten into the future with, issues, I guess?
Well, in this environment, it's hard to know what those issues are. I'm very enthused about Kevin because I think he's the kind of person that can be nimble and through his personal integrity and ability to get things done will tackle the unforeseen. So I'm really pleased with the choice that the president's made. But there's no burning issues on the horizon, and as excited as I am about Kevin, I'm still sort of in denial about Jim. Jim was one of those visionary, real leaders that I've never had a chance to work with. And I'm happy for him and his family because it's good for them. I'm not happy for the Big Ten or myself because I love working with him so much. The salve on the wound is I think Kevin's an excellent choice, and I look forward to working with him. So. Any other questions? Excellent. I really appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate the interest, and I'm not sure how we're set up exactly, but I think it's kind of free reign if you want to check in the football locker room.